We are live and we are starting. And so if there is anyone out there who is, all right, let me start again. So we are now live, Facebook agrees. And if, as one of you out there in virtual land comes on, if you could let me know that you can see and hear me, that would be great. And there we go. So I'll just stand here. Someone is here. Okay, Debbie Joy, you have won again. So let me know for what you would like me to do with spiritual mind treatment, and you have got it. All right, so let's start. Hola.
Hola.
And Margit, okay, you too have won. All right, there we go. And if Margit, if you are on the way here, because you got to see my new outfit, let's go. Uh-oh. All right, let's go. So this word is being spoken for each one. And if there is anyone that you would like to have included, just think of their name now. And if there is any place or situation in the world that you would like to have included, just think of that name also. Observing this universe, it is obvious there is something, someone, creating it, because it is an intelligent universe. It is created in exactly the way that it needs to be created to support the expression and the flourishing of life, of human life. And so this divine creator is infinitely intelligent and is a creator and is continuously creating this universe and everything in it. It creates always from that which it is. Its qualities are always present. Its qualities of life, love, light, power, peace, beauty, harmony, joy, and order, always present. Because all these qualities must be present for everything in this universe to be in balance, to be able to interact with everything else in a harmonious and peaceful way. And so that which is true everywhere is true right here, right now, in, through, as, and all around each one being a part of this creating activity. All that its essence is the truth of each one, the essence of each one. It is the material with which the form is created out of. And so, right here and right now, it's recognized that right where each one is an intelligence at work. An intelligence that knows all, that knows what has been created, and it knows what is in the process of being created. It knows what is going on in the thinking, thoughts, and beliefs in everyone on this planet. And it knows how to guide each one through all of this infinite diversity of thought into a path where harmonious and life-affirming thoughts are flourishing. Each one is in agreement with these thoughts, and so the divine law of attraction is bringing to each one more of the good, the beautiful, and the true. And it begins right now with each one choosing to consciously contemplate the good, the beautiful, and the true. To claim all the love, all the joy, all the harmony, all the peace. To claim it all being right where each one is, here, now, and always. Everywhere and always. And so each one dwells in this harmonious experience and expression of life. And each one is in agreement with this harmonious expression, this harmonious, tranquil, peaceful expression of life. There is no conflict, no disagreement, and there is no competition. There is no either or. There is no opposition. The highest and the greatest good of all reigns supreme everywhere in the universe. And so that highest and greatest good reigns right where each one is. And the highest and the greatest good for each one is the good that is necessary for everyone. The highest and the greatest good accepts no one. It includes all. So each one belongs to this highest and greatest good, this divine formula, this divine calculation. Each one's uniqueness is taken into account. There is a symbol in this divine formula of creating the expression of this life that represents each one. And that formula is created to result in the highest and the greatest good of all. And so each one knows that he or she belongs, knows that he or she is in that unfolding path of moving from good to greater good, always, as well as knowing that so is everyone else. And so each one is filled with a greater respect and honor of that path for themselves. Each one is filled with a greater motivation to agree and cooperate with this inner urge of accepting and moving forward from good to greater good. Wherever there has been an experience or subjective belief that would create discomfort in this movement from good to greater good, that would create an experience of resentment, rejection, or rebellion, it is dissipated now in the light of realizing the tremendous good that each one is inexorably brought to. Each one is on that divine orbit created just for him or herself and is that movement of good to greater good. Each one is on that orbit and enjoying where he or she is on that orbit. That there is no special spot to get to on an orbit. It is all the way. The way. And each one is on the way, the path of living, of being. Each one is on that way of creating. And each one realizes that any particular creation is no more important than any other, because the life is the experience of creating, of agreeing with the movement forward, of enjoying it, participating in it, cooperating it, and devoting all of one's attention and focus to this movement forward. That the way of being and becoming more of that which is divine is always present. It cannot be attained and it cannot be lost, because it is all that is. And so each one is now realizing this tremendous gift of living. That gift of life is living. And each one is now living this life, living it moment to moment, daily, with full focused, full intent, and full attention. Each one is participating fully and looking for the signs, the guidance, the messages that support one in knowing that they are on that divine orbit, that divine way, that divine path. Each one has that simple faith of knowing that he or she is right now being this expression of life, that he or she is the expressor of this life that he or she is, and that all is good within themselves and within every other one. And so this is a day of harmony and grace, of peace, and of an expanding realization and acceptance, and then enjoyment of the gift of living this gift of life. I am grateful that this is truth, and so I release this word now to that loving law. Grateful it is done so beautifully, and we agree by saying together, and so it is. And that is the way it is. So good morning, Debbie and Joaquina from California. It's good to see you all. All right, and let's move forward. Reverend Rich will have something to sing. Take us away.
I am opening, my heart is ready to receive. I am opening, my heart is ready to receive. I am opening, my heart is ready to receive.
And so we take this moment now to realize the gift already has been given. And so we now open our heart and our hands and our minds to receive what has already been given. Any belief that what has been given is not enough is a lie, because what has been given is all good has been given. All love, all light, all peace, all good has been given. Each one opens and accepts it now wholeheartedly, whole-handedly, whole-mindedly. And so it is.
I am opening, my heart is ready to receive. I am opening, my heart is ready to receive.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Is your heart ready to receive? Because now's the time. I'm Jon Heron. I'm a practitioner here at the Center for Spiritual Living, Princeton. And we are a loving, healing, and inclusive community which teaches and practices the principles of the science of mind for the well-being and spiritual growth of ourselves and the world. So today, Reverend Karen is going to be talking on It Takes Time, or there are no shortcuts to maturity. It's funny because it's a perfect thing for me to hear this morning. That part of me that thinks that I have to do this meditation, I have to read this book, I have to do this spiritual practice, or I'm not going to grow. It's something that I've dealt with in myself a lot, and I thought I just wanted to read this little paragraph from the Science of Mind, what we call the textbook by Ernest Holmes. True spiritual work will strengthen the will without exhausting the mind. If our mental work tires us, then we're using the will in the wrong way. The right way would be to determine to think peace, whether there appeared to be any reason to expect that peace would be forthcoming in the experience. And so here we are, and we're going to have the opportunity to listen to Damaris Otero-Torres as our practitioner, and Reverend Karen, and Reverend Rich with his wonderful music. Are we ready? Are we relaxed? Are we ready to, or are we like, I'm going to get the message today? Well, maybe you will, maybe you won't. The question is, are you listening? Are you open for it? Because when it comes, you got to be ready for it. And being ready is, in my experience, just being relaxed and listening. If one of the things about this teaching is, the divine is always saying yes. The divine is yes. It's the eternal yes. And the way I think about it is, it's just waiting for us to say yes back. That's all. So at the beginning of this wonderful service, there's the question, are you saying yes? Are you ready to hear? Because maybe somewhere, not maybe, somewhere in this service, in something that Reverend Karen says, or something that Damaris says, or that Reverend Rich sings, there's something there for you. And all you have to do is be open to say yes to it. And so I know that this coming Tuesday, our practitioner, Susan Neat, will be doing her Tuesday meditation, a 15-minute meditation at 7 p.m. You'll find out about that on our webpage if you'd like to join, CSL Space Princeton, our Facebook page. And other than that, welcome. For those of you who took the trouble to come here this morning, isn't it a wonderful thing for us to be together? What better reason to come to a place and to be together, to remind ourselves of that eternal yes, which is being said at all times, and our being here is a step toward us saying yes back. So, thank you.
I am the love of God. 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 I am love. I am love. I am love of God. I am love. I am love. I am the love of God. You are 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 love. You are love. You are the love of God. You are love. You are love. You are the love of God. We 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 are love. We are love. We are the love of God. We are love. We are love. We are
Good morning. So as I was preparing for to be the practitioner of the day, two things came to mind. First one, John, this week marks our third anniversary as practitioners. So yeah, time flies. So out there is Susan's listening. So yeah, 3 years. We were all of a sudden shocked by the news. Hey guys, you have to take your exam in 2 weeks, and there we were. So talk about maturity, which is the second thing I want to bring in. As I was preparing, I took a glance to the email we get, and the word maturity just flare up came to my vision, and I said, well, how would I define maturity in these 3 years? And it was very clear to me that the way I like to measure maturity is by the amount of joy I experience. I think that so often in my personal life, I've seen maturity as a sign of struggle, of being the leader, of being the responsible one, of being the one in charge. Yet, from a spiritual point of view, we are truly mature when we know it is not up to us, but to that higher self to set that schedule. And like John reminded us, yes, it is up to us to listen. It is up to us to be ready. It is up to us to take the challenge, even if we think we're not ready, because we are ready. And I think that as a practitioner, I think that's the gift that this teaching has given me, to know that there is joy even when I think that there can't be any joy. If out of my personal experience, some of you know that my mother has been diagnosed with dementia, so we've been struggling with that. I found a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful place for her here in Somerset, and she's going to her school, but Spirit had other plans. And I was resistant, I must say. So we had to put her in a nursing home. And I was all the guilt, all the things I could take care of this, but also as part of that maturity, I knew that my resistance to welcoming a new chapter in her life was something that I had to let go. So hopefully she's been in her new environment since the 1st of June, and she's been thriving, and she's been happy, and she thinks she's in a hotel. And she has friends. Some people love her. So I am grateful for this teaching to be able to accept that I don't always have the answer. Even though I may consider myself to be mature according to the world standards, there's a higher maturity that I think we can all experience and that we can all welcome. And part of that maturity, I think, comes with the idea of accepting change, accepting that life has an intelligence of its own, and we will never be able to define it. We can only be able to embrace it and be embraced by it. So, having said that, so I went to one of my Bibles, so 365 Days of Richer Living by Ernest Holmes and Raymond Charles Barker. And it was yesterday's meditation, the one that I would truly led me to try to bring this message. And the affirmation says, I let life move me forward into greater good. And it's prefaced by a phrase of the one and only Emerson that says, people wish to be settled, yet only as far as they are unsettled is there any hope for them. Boom. True. And it says, There are no anchors in my world to fasten me to any one situation forever. I accept the ever-changing, ever-unfolding action of God in my experience. I have faith that life impels me into greater good for myself and for all who comprise my world. I appreciate the past, but it cannot bind me to any person, place, nor thing. It is now a neutralized memory of good, and its knowledge is available to me, but its negative power is gone. No more weeping for what might have been. Today is the day of glory, and tomorrow is alive with the possibilities of creative self-expression. I let changes take place in my life. I know they must, and I know they will, whether I say yes or no. Boom. All changes accepted as a spiritual adventure are for the good, and I now begin the discovery of God in every new condition. Buried in all men is the treasure of the kingdom of God. I seek it, and I find its coffers overflowing with kindness. I have no enemies, for God's friendship comes to me through every relative, co-worker, and contact. I break all chains, which bind me, and walk free into God's great experience of life. New forms of good come to me, emanate from me, and appear around me today. So that's what these wonderful traveling companions of mine say. So in that consciousness, I invite you to take a deep cleansing breath and know that there's one truth. Change is inevitable because there is one creator, one infinite mind, one divine presence that is it's infinite in its intelligence, in its wisdom, its harmony. And each one here is part of that one presence because each one here is made out of that creative intelligence that is God the good. And as each one here understands that we are made of that stuff that is divine, that is intelligence, that can never be destroyed, whose essence can never be altered. Each one here is brave, is strong, and recognizes that as each one opens their hearts and their minds and their souls, they are in for a wonderful, greater experience of what they are in their essence. And that is the sign of maturity, the recognition that maturity is joy, because maturity means to accept one's oneness with that infinite mind. There is nothing aside from that. And what each one has thought as good, God has thought and has envisioned and has produced as better. If each one here dares to say, yes, 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 I am ready to let that divine wisdom enter my heart and soul. And I dare to shape it by surrendering every doubt, every sign of confusion, every sign of resistance. Life is a goal. God is a goal because there is no obstruction to growth. Whether it is yes or no, life changes because God is constantly creating new and better worlds. And that is the truth. And each one here is part of that divine nature that is constantly expanding, that is constantly learning new ways to embrace the true, the beautiful, the enduring, the good. I know this word is in the law, and I release it to the law, knowing that it is so, and so it is. Amen. Happy Sunday.
My apologies to Jackie Wilson. Change a few words. Your love lifted me higher. ever been lifted before. So keep it up, ooh, quench my desire, and I'll be at your side forevermore. You know God's love is lifting me higher, higher and higher. I said God's love is lifting me higher than I've ever been lifted before. Now once I was downhearted, disappointment was my closest friend, but God came and it soon departed, and it never showed its face again. That's why God's love keeps lifting me higher, higher and higher. I said your love keeps lifting me higher than I've ever been lifted before. I'm so glad I finally found God. Yes, that God with a million names, and that with my loving arms around me, honey, can stand up and face the world. I said your love keeps lifting me, keeps on lifting me higher and higher. I said your love keeps lifting me, keeps on lifting me higher and higher. So wherever you are, Jackie.
There you go.
Jackie Wilson.
Alrighty, Roo. Okay, so one of you is the inspiration for today's talk, and you will know who you are without me pointing you out. But why does it take so long? Something happens to me around May or June of every year. If you were around at the beginning of the year, you probably all remembered how I'm going to do one baby step spiritual practice and one baby step behavioral practice change. And I have a little app, and those of you in the home audience, you could see that was January, every day. February, every day checked. Wow. March, every day checked. April, every day checked. May, I don't know if you can see. May had a little trouble getting going, and now we are in June. Why? So, I know this about me. So it does not matter how much determination, consciousness, commitment, no matter how much spiritual work and thinking that I do at the end of last year to prepare for the exact perfect little things, these 2 changes that I'm going to make in my life this year, and I'm going to do it every year. I'm going to finally get a full year of these things done. Something happens, and it does start happening. I mean, other things are happening January, February, March, and April that it's making it hard for me to do it and do it and do it and keep it up. I'm feeling the resistance, the rejection, the rebellion. I'm feeling all that. And then something happens where I just forget about it in May. Even though I have my little app reminding me, somehow I don't even see the reminders. And there's a passing thought, the first day I miss, I'm like, whoa, I missed it. I just totally missed it. Well, you can't make it up. Why not? It's my rules. But off I go. We human beings have a misperception about life, what it is to live. We want to be settled. Right? We want to reach our goal and not think about it anymore. We want to be done. It was certainly taught to me in my early religion classes, where everything that you're doing here is to achieve the goal, which is you go to heaven. And every once in a while, people would say, but then what do you do in heaven? You just sit around on a cloud and maybe sing or something. You know, what fun is that? So, but exactly, what fun is that? I want to be down in hell where all the screaming and howling is going on. At least it's different. But you'd get tired of that too after a while. So, but even though every single thing we are looking at in nature, in the universe, in our own bodies, give us the evidence of continuous, perpetual change, we want to be settled. We've even made up a concept of death, because then you're settled. Bad news, you're not. It keeps on going. It keeps on going. So we want to learn that life is not a static state. Life is an essence that is expressing itself. Life does not change. Love does not change. The material, the substance of the universe is infinite, all that all, and it is continuously, without any interruption, whether we like it or not, whether we are going along with it or not, as was said, it is creating, and creating, ing, is changing. That's what's normal, that's what's natural. There's no resting stop in creating. There's no end in creating. And there is no goal in creating. We just create. More and more and more. Of what? Well, that's what we have choice over. But create, we are doing whether we realize it or not, because that's what the essence of life does. And we are the essence of life. So that question of why is it taking so long, and we religious scientists use this belief in a static state, which is erroneous, with our beautiful teaching, so that we are treating and treating and treating and treating and treating for something, because we believe when we get it, we can be done. And I can coast for a while. I can, and we keep talking about change. We don't accept it. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. We want to change everything so that we don't have to change. And the thing is we are continuously changing. So to have the courage to accept the things we can change, I think could be rewritten to be to accept that I am changing. I am changing. You are changing. We are changing. The things that we cannot change is the changing going on by other people and nature and everything. We can't change that. That's all changing too, but maybe not the way we like it. But what we can change is ourselves. And what we want to get more aware of, I guess that's the most to hope for today, right? More aware that we are always changing, is that is our life. We make up goals to direct the experience and the direction in which the change is taking place. But it's just a direction. It's a vector. Anybody knows what a vector is? I dropped out of being a math major in college because I didn't know what a vector was. Then after I became a minister, I actually read one of Einstein's books, and he described vector in like 2 sentences. It's a direction. That's all it is. It's a direction. It's not, anything mysterious or whatever. It's just a direction. And so what we have control over is what direction our changing expressions of ourselves is going. That's what we have authority over. And it begins with our attitude. But change we will, because that's what life does. And we set ourselves up for impatience, frustration, disappointment, agony, angst, when we believe there is a goal that we could arrive and be done. Because there's not. And those of you who have achieved a goal, as soon as you've fully enjoyed and embraced and celebrated that goal, there's a part of you that goes, and now what? Maybe it comes immediately, maybe it comes in a few days, maybe it comes... I remember years ago I won a little beauty contest, and they were having 2 beauty contests, one for the younger women, one for the older women at the time. Things that's what things were like back then. And so I was up on the stage in the back wearing my crown with my scepter and my flowers and my little sash, and all the court, the runners-up, as in the losers, they all were standing next to me. And I remember sitting there going, and this is it? This is it? Am I supposed to be wildly happy? I'm not. Well, I guess it's better than being one of them, because I get to sit. They don't look too happy, but I wasn't that happy either. What was that goal about? What was I expecting from it? I was expecting somehow being crowned queen or princess or whatever it was, that somehow I would my whole life would change in that moment. But what I discovered was it was me still sitting there with the crown. I hadn't changed. And the crowning did not change me. I was the same old sour, crabby little girl that I had been. So, change is happening, and the only thing we have control over is our experience of changing. The only thing we have control over is our experience of changing. And that is gold, because the divine is infinite. There is no end. And so are we. And if there were an end, yes, then there would be death. Or sitting on a cloud in heaven going doop, 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 doop. But we couldn't tolerate it, because inbuilt to us is this impulsion to know more, express more, create more, become more of who we truly are. But who we truly are is, again, it's not a static who am I? It's an infinite being. So to become more and more of your own self is what our living is about and what its purpose is. And we insert some goals to help us point the way. So what we want to realize is achieving the goal is almost the last thing we want. Because as soon as we achieve it, we have to make up another one. So it's much more fun to have a big, big goal and work on it for a couple of decades. And enjoy the process of unfolding. And so, yes, we do want to choose goals that have us changing in a direction that we enjoy, that we like. I mean, becoming more kind, more compassionate, more loving. That is worth it. That is, you can enjoy becoming kinder. You can enjoy becoming more successful. But never think there is going to be a point where you're going to say, I have arrived and I'm done. Because that is a fantasy. It's a human fantasy. And it's got to go. We want to remember the divine. How old is our universe? 18 billion years old? 15, 20 billion, give or take a billion. Gary?
It changes every couple of weeks.
Yes, I know it does. So let's say 17.5 billion years, right? For 17.5 billion years, the divine is creating a universe, and now we're here. So the 17.5 billion years, if God's intention was in creating the entire universe for 17.5 billion years, was to finally arrive at humanity, well, here it is. Was God impatient those 17.5 billion years, waiting for humanity to arrive? And having arrived, what do you think the universe is doing now? It keeps expanding. It keeps becoming more and more complex, more and more dynamic. It keeps unfolding. There are new forms emerging in this universe. And we're here at this particular moment. But what we want to realize is we are made in the image and likeness of the divine. The divine is infinite, and it does not need patience because the divine does not have a goal. The divine is only expressing itself. I am, I am, I am, I am, I am. No goals. I am this, I am that, I am this, I am that, I am this, I am that. Endless, infinite, continuous. And not stuck on any, I am this, I'm that, and I want to stay that. No. The divine goes up, I was that. It doesn't even say I was that. It doesn't even remember it was that. It's like, I am this, I am that, I am that, I'm this, this. It's always creating, moving forward, being more and more of all the splendor and the greatness that it is. And yes, in our emergence, we have that ability to be aware of the creative activity of life, and we have the ability to join in. We have the ability to join in the creativity of life. And what can we create? God grant me the wisdom to know the difference. What can I change? What can I not change? I cannot change the essence of life. I cannot change the spiritual substance, the materials that are being used to produce the forms of life. I cannot change the qualities of the divine that are my nature. I cannot change what other people do with their qualities. But I can change my use, my experience of all that has been given. And it affects me, myself, and I. Maybe it affects other people, but it's totally dependent on those other people and what they are, what direction their vectors are pointing, where they are taking their change. I had an interesting experience. I was watching a whole lot of a room full of, I'd say, over 100 children last Saturday afternoon behind, while the performance of the ballet was going on. All the kids who were waiting were in the room, and all the adults left to either be in the audience to watch their kids or to be the stage manager, getting the kids out of the holding tank onto the stage area, and they put me in charge. I know I've never had children, and I wasn't very good at junior school, the little time I was there as a teacher. So there were about 100 children, and we were in a giant cafeteria, and the noise, rackety, at a community college, so that tin sound, especially when ballerinas are jumping onto chairs and doing cartwheels. And so I was just, monitoring the room, trying to see if there was anything really bad going on. And one little kid came over to me and said, there's a special needs child over here who cannot handle the noise. And I looked at the child, and she was sitting there like this. And my first thought was, who the heck put this kid in this room, which is not for her to flourish and thrive in? But they weren't there to yell at, so I was guided to go to the child. And I didn't have a lot of time to be with her because I had to make sure, no one, hurt themselves seriously while I was on duty. And so I said to her, do you like cats? And she goes, yes. I said, okay, now I want you to be very quiet and see if you can hear the kitten meowing in your mind. Can you hear the kitten meow? Can you hear it? She goes, yes. I said, all right, now I want you to just notice, you breathe in and breathe out and just see if you can keep hearing the kitten meow. And I'm going to be right over there, so wave your hand if you need me. So I went back to my monitoring stance, and I noticed the whole room got quiet. And I went back over to the child and I said, did you notice the room got quieter? Pay attention to that. Whenever you want the room to get quieter, just listen for the kitten inside of you. And I'm over there if you need me anymore. So I went back and did my job. The thing is, she could not control the room, right? She couldn't change the room. I couldn't change the room. I didn't have the skills. I didn't have the ability. I didn't have a clue. But she could control herself, and she did. I made a suggestion, but she followed it, and then the whole room got quiet. Quieter. All right, and we all lived. So what we want to realize is that instead of focusing on trying to attain a goal where unconsciously and maybe consciously we are thinking, and then I can rest, and then I'm done, and then I'm okay, or I'm perfect, or I'll finally be loved, or I'll finally be able to heal this particular physical symptom that I have. Instead of thinking that static way, which is not who we are, what we want to realize is that we are becoming beings, that we are creating beings, and set as an intention, as a vector, what direction do I want to change? And an intention is infinite. It can never be crossed off the list. And so if I have an intention to be kinder, if I have an intention to be an excellent pet owner, if I have an intention to be a successful business owner, we choose it because we think we're going to enjoy the experience of changing into it. The day-to-day changing into it experience. Right? We want to get physically fit. Why do we want to get physically fit? So that we look good, everybody admires us, and we don't have to do it anymore. Right? Or I like the one, I want to really be physically fit so I can eat anything I want. Okay, not a lot of change going on there, you see. It's not our bodies that are changing that we need to be thinking about. It's not how much food can I eat that we need to be thinking about. It's how am I thinking and feeling inside of me. That's what we want to change. That's the intention. Who do I want to be thinking like? I was challenged for some reason this weekend. Negative suggestions from the world kept popping into my head as I was going about the world doing stuff. And I guess I had noticed a little bit too much of what was going on in the news, and so I had these little scenarios pop into my mind. Ooh, that could happen. Ooh, what about this? What if this happened? And I kept having to draw myself back, going, think about the good, the beautiful, and the true. Think on these things. And my mind wouldn't think on these things. It just kept thinking, well, what about this? What about this? What about this? What about this? No, let's think about the good, the beautiful, the true. So the conscious mind was continuing to reset the direction, because for some reason I was going off on a vector where I didn't want to go. I was offered a cookie yesterday at brunch, and it looked like my kind of cookie. And everyone else was eating the cookies and enjoying it so much. And I thought about the vector. I thought, if I eat that cookie, I am on the way to the carbohydrate addiction that gets set off usually every Christmas time and results in a few months of getting set back on state of feeling healthy and good and weighing a weight that is easy to carry around. But the one cookie I was on this vector of feeling good, eating nutritiously, body in balance, everything working for me physically, and the cookie vector came. And I sat there like that. And I was able to refuse it with great strength. And I was not interested in the cookie at all. I knew if it were Christmas time and the cookie were offered, that it'd be all over. But I just had confidence. I was like, no, thank you. I'm not into it. I got all my, yummy stuff here that I ordered, whatever. And others were saying, how could you not have had this cookie? It's so good. And I'm like, yes, I know how delicious this cookie is. And I will eat it come Christmas. But right now, no. I'm on this vector. So that is a change for me, to be living and that inner me for decades of trial and error, to reach a point where I was in agreement with this vector I was on, and I was able, and I didn't feel deprived at all. Go ahead, have a cookie, I don't care. I didn't order it. I didn't want it before I got here. And the presence of it is not pulling me at this moment. Wow, I've internally changed. There is something of strength to build on. What else can I say no to? All you delicious, wonderful looking pieces of food out there. But that I am becoming more empowered. That's something new. And where else can I apply it? So I pulled out Rick Warren's The Purpose-Driven Life, and he has a quote. While we are ripening, actually, before I give you this quote, I'll give you this quote. He says, while we worry about how fast we grow, right? And God is concerned about how strong we grow. And the way I interpreted this is, we're concerned about how fast we are growing because we believe when we arrive, we'll be done. And so that's why we are impatient. That's why we get frustrated. That's why when they tell us that we have another round of administrative paperwork to do, we want to, cry, right? And what we want to realize is, no, it's not getting the paperwork done. It's not, getting the new hip. It's not about getting the license. It's about who we are becoming. The divine doesn't care how long it takes to create a universe in order for life forms as humans to emerge. Because it knows its tendency is more and more life affirming, more and more love and expression. It's happy with that. The divine is happy with expressing, I am that I am. And what am I? I am love. And so the divine is happy with expressing, I am love. And so can we be. If we realize, I am love, and I am expressing more love. And that's my goal in life, is to express as much love as I can in this particular form. And then I'll move on to another form and continue to express more and more love, because there's no end to it. There's no end. So I'm thinking about, I just want to share, my teacher, Dr. Stuart Grayson, talked about maturity this way. See, maturity, all right, so even maturity we think of as a static state, right? When I'm an adult, right? When did any of you here become an adult? Do you remember?
I'm still not.
That's it. That's the answer. He said, I'm still not. I'm still working on it, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, let's turn back and start all over. What's that?
I still watch Scooby-Doo.
Still watch Scooby-Doo. Adults watch Scooby-Doo. That's okay. All right. So what we want to realize is that maturity is arriving at that state where you know that you are an expresser of these qualities of life. And I know many of you who are here have had mystical spiritual experiences, right? Maybe just one, where you felt and connected with something beyond your understanding for maybe a nanosecond, right? And then it went away. When you had that moment of realization, you thought, that's it! And then where'd it go? Like when I've had those moments, I've thought, that's it, that's enough. And then I keep breathing. I'm like, well, what's the point of that? I don't get it. That's what we need to realize. Maturity is about realizing we are already filled with all that we require or desire. All the good stuff we've already got. All the life, the love, the light, the power, the peace, the beauty, the harmony, the joy, the order, the intelligence, the wisdom. We got it all. Now what are you going to do with it? You've got, your kitchen is stocked. What are you going to cook? We are cooks. We are not the diners. We are the cooks of our lives. And so spiritual maturity is realizing that I am made in the image and the likeness of the divine, and the divine is not concerned about us arriving anywhere. The divine doesn't have a place for us to arrive. The divine wants us to be the divine in expression, to be love in the divine love as a human, to be divine life as a human, to express it, to be it, and to be aware of it, and more and more and more of it. And there's no end to it, because there's no end to God. When is the divine going to say, I am that I am and I'm done? It will never say that. And so there's no hope for us either. I am that I am. There's no end. So back to my teacher, Dr. Stuart Grayson, and talking about maturity, he said, here's the thing, and we're in the fruit-bearing season, right? The ripening. He said the peach on that tree, you don't want to pluck it and eat it until it's just ripe. That moment when it's the juiciest, the softest, the yummiest. If you pick it too early because you're in a rush, it's hard. It's not as moisture-y as it could be. And if you wait too long, you got some brown spots. Yeah, you don't want to go there, right? Right? I'm sure you've all bit into that, right? But you want to pick that peach when it's at that perfect moment. And so when we are living on our trajectory, our vector, our intention of life, we set our goals as a dimension, as a moment of realizing how far we have come, simultaneously aware of how much farther we have to go. That we can enjoy this moment with all of its richness, as well as every other moment. That there's no end to the richness of each and every moment that we have matured into. And so our moment here now is our moment of maturity. It's here now. We don't have to wait for it. We're enough to be living our chosen expressing direction of life, and to do it now to the best we can. And as we do it now, to realize that however good we do it now, we'll be able to do it even better tomorrow. Even more of it tomorrow. All right, so we have everyone getting ready in the room for the offering. So let's take a moment and contemplate this gift of life that we are living right here and right now, and move forward in our contemplation. So, Regina?
Thank you, Reverend Karen, for the beautiful lesson. Much appreciated. So this is our offering. And why do we do this? We do this because we want a place to come every Sunday, to allow us to be nurtured, to feed us. And that's why we do it. So for those of you that are in virtual land, you can go to our website, CSL Princeton, we have a friend here, .org, and click on that donate button. And for those of you that are here, I will pass around our little plate here. But let's begin with the law of circulation, the giving and receiving. That's a law. So Ernest Holmes writes, everything in nature moves in circles. What goes out must come back. Unless the seed is sown, it cannot bear fruit. There must be a planting time for every harvest. Those who give all, receive all. Those who refuse to give limit the possibility of the greater good returning to them. Love, and you will be loved. Extend joy, and you will become more joyful. Woo. And we have a friend.
We thank you in advance for the goodness that we share. It's our faith that lets us know the truth of the statement. We thank you from the place of perfect expectation. For with our right thought, our needs are fulfilled. In the giving is the gift for the giver and receiver. Tithing is the key that lets our blessings flow. As we recognize the source of our bounty and abundance, we release these words of praise into the Lord. Thank you in advance for the goodness that we share. It's our faith that lets us know the truth of the statement. We thank you from a place of perfect expectation. For with our right thoughts, our needs are fulfilled. In the giving, the giver and receiver, and guiding is the key that lets our blessings flow. We recognize the source of our bounty and abundance. We release these words of praise into the Lord, and so it is.
And by Deepak Chopra, I will make a commitment to keep wealth circulating in my life by giving and receiving life's most precious gifts, the gifts of caring, affection, appreciation, and love. Each time I meet someone, I will silently wish them happiness, joy, and laughter. Thank you.
All right, so we were doing a little communicating. Should we end it or no? Closing treatment, right? Right. Okay, so I want to just welcome Laura from Italy, Lakina from California, and you know, those of you out there who are watching, if I don't see you on my laptop, because I noticed on my cell phone that there are other people watching that I don't get to see. So sorry about that, Angel. I know you're out there. And happy birthday, Reverend Della Menicella. So, having said all that, this word is being spoken for each one. Look, God is all there is, and God is life, light, love, power, peace, beauty, harmony, order, and joy. And this that God is, I am that I aming in all creation. Its creative activity is ceaseless, and it is creating each one now with that delegated authority to co-create the way that he or she creates themselves. Each one is allowed full freedom to choose what qualities of the divine he or she decides to become more of, to express more of. And in that choice to express any of the qualities of the divine, each one has the full backing and authority of the universe to support them in experiencing the full embodiment of more of that quality. It is a joy to experience any of the qualities of the divine in a greater way, no matter how small the increase. It is delightful to express more of it. And so each one is expressing more of the qualities of the divine than ever before, and each one's lives and livingnesses are greater and more wonderful and more joyful to themselves than ever before. I release this word to the law. It's done, and so it is. That's the way it is.
And so it is. 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 Amen.
Amen. All right. Well, glad you all came, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.